The year is almost over, so it is time for a little reset. There are a lot of things that I like to do to get myself mentally and physically prepared for a new year. Some of that involves cleaning, some of it's planning, some of it's organization, and my end of the year cleanup list changes and evolves every year as I do. So I figured that this time I would take you along with me as I go through it. First things first, I love a checklist. That's just how my brain works. So for something like this, I do like to use Notion. This is not sponsored or anything. It's just what I use. I don't do anything fancy. I don't make it look super pretty. I'm actually still learning and figuring out how best to make it work for me. So after evaluating what kind of tracking and list keeping that I did last year, and reflecting on what I did and didn't like, I started resetting my Notion for the coming year and created my end of year checklist. To finish out the current year, I like to start with somewhat of a cleanup phase. So starting with backing up my files. I use a cloud service, but I also like to back things up to a physical hard drive. So at the end of the year, I need to do my final backup and also set up the file structure for the upcoming year. The next part of the cleanup phase is to physically clean out my art supplies, so taking a look at what I have and see if there's anything that I want to throw out or give away. I was actually pretty good this year about not buying a ridiculous amount of new supplies. I've reached a point in my relationship with art materials where I'm always super happy to try new things, and I like to try new things, but I don't always feel such a strong urge to buy stuff just to buy it anymore. Not to say that I never impulse buy art supplies, but I don't as often as I used to because I have a lot and I sort of know what I like now in an art supply. So I didn't actually have that much to clean out, which is nice. The bin that I'm going through here is sort of my most miscellaneous, less used supplies, and I do tend to hoard art materials on like the off chance that I'll want to use a specific colored pencil in 7 months. That probably won't actually happen, but I like to keep it anyway, so it's hard for me to get rid of anything, but I don't have a lot of space, so anything I can clear out is better than nothing. I also like to do this because it reminds me of stuff that I own if I haven't looked at it in a while or it's in a bin so I forgot about it. Sometimes this can inspire me to then actually use some more of the stuff that I own. So after I clean out my art supplies, I like to clean out my art pieces. I paint a lot throughout the year, and obviously not everything that you make when you make art is going to be any good or worth keeping. It's tempting to hold on to every little thing as a record of growth, but it really isn't necessary. I'll go through any paintings that are loose pieces of paper, and if I don't think that it's going to inspire another piece, or if I look at it and think, I wouldn't display this or give it to someone, then I don't really need to keep it. I have a lot of sketchbooks, and those are a pretty solid indication of my art progression, so in the garbage they go. The next section of the end of year checklist is where I start looking towards the coming year. Now, while I like to use Notion, I am a huge fan of a paper planner. I used to spend literal hours researching new formats and layouts to see if I could find a new planner that I liked better than the one I used the year before. Now I've found that I really like the rifle paper planners. Again, I am a list person, so I really like that the right side of the page has spaces for things that happen on each day of the week, and the left side is basically just a free-flowing list page, and it works really well for me because I have things to do during the week that I want to remember to do but that don't have to be on a specific day, so I can just keep all of those on the left and keep day-specific things on the right and cross things off as I see fit. I like to buy a sticker pack to go with it because it's fun, and I'll put them throughout the book when I do my general planner setup so that as I go through each week, it's kind of like a fun surprise, and also because I never remember to use them like just throughout the year when I'm setting up the next week, so I need to do it when I do my general planner setup of important dates. I also like to get a wall calendar, and this one I only kind of put major big things in. I have a roommate and we're friends, so, like dates will be in town, mutual friends' birthdays, that kind of thing is really the only thing that goes on here, but it's a nice thing to have as a general reference in the apartment. So this year I went with this national park calendar, super cute. I really like this specific format where the calendar itself isn't folded in half, and it's held up by this metal bar that's less annoying to hang than normal calendars. So once both the calendar and planner are done, I feel like I have a good handle on some of the important scheduling things to remember as I think about the coming year, and I'm ready to start figuring out how my art practice fits into it. So next, I'm resetting my watercolor palette. So I'm taking a look at it, seeing if there's any changes that I want to make. At a certain point towards the end of the year, I'll actually stop refilling colors when they become empty so I can see what I've really used a lot of and see if there's any that I think are worth removing. So that'll be a whole separate video that will be coming out probably next. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in seeing my process and what my palette for next year will look like. I will link my 2024 palette below if you're interested in seeing where it's at right now. After that, it is back to Notion to write out some goals for the new year. I find goal setting to be a really difficult process. I have trouble looking ahead, but I like to try. My main goal for the coming year is to separate my social media from my art practice, because this year I posted on social media pretty much every other day, and often throughout the year I was doing challenges that involved posting every single day, and that's a lot. It's a lot, and it's not really the kind of work that I enjoy. I like doing art challenges, but for the rest of the year, I think I'm going to cut back on trying to force myself to post so often. It was causing me a lot of stress, and I found that I wasn't taking the time to make art that I wanted to spend more time on, because so much of my time was focused on finishing smaller pieces that I could edit and then post the next day. Now that I've thought of my goals and priorities for the coming year, I can write out this year's monthly task list. So a lot of it is going to stay the same because they're reminders for recurring tasks like backing up content or planning for the next month or making a YouTube video, that kind of thing. So that is sort of staying the same. Again, like I said, I'm going to cut back on some of the social media stuff. But once I put my monthly task list together, that is the end of my end of year checklist. So yeah, this has been my little artist reset. I hope that this was helpful if you're trying to figure out how to reset for yourself for the coming year. If there's anything that you like to do at the end of the year that helps you prepare, I would love to hear it. Please, please, please leave it in the comments below. I'm still working on this process for myself, and it's something that grows and changes every year. So if you have any good advice, I am all ears. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I hope everyone has a happy and healthy new year and that you had a great holiday season. And I will see you in the new year.